I'm worried that this light is making me look fat. I'm an artist, and by the way, you can see me, but I can't see you at all, so that should make me a little less nervous. I'm an artist, mostly a sculptor. I think of myself as an animal artist, although I almost never do animals anymore. And I think a lot of you are familiar with the public art and community art projects I've done. I want to take this opportunity to thank the museum for hosting an event like this. It's important to me that we can share intimacy here in Tacoma. We're a town that is the right scale for people like me talking to you about personal experiences, and for other people to listen to that, and that sharing creates a fabulous community. So I want to talk to you about a hypnotic regression experience I had about 30 years ago. So the beginning of that story is when I was 16, my brother and sister and I went to visit my father in Los Angeles. We were living in San Francisco. And it was really the first time we were seeing him. And he was earning his living doing three things. He was an organist in nightclubs, he was a sign painter, and he was a hypnotherapist. So his work included helping people learn, I was going to say how to smoke, but how not to smoke, and how to lose weight and so forth. So he hypnotized each of us individually, and did a little test to make sure we were really in a trance. And I came back to San Francisco so completely mesmerized by hypnosis that I read every book in sight. And hypnosis wasn't that common or popular at that time, so there were really just a few books. And one of the books was The Search for Bridie Murphy. Does anybody
Yes.
familiar with that story?
Yeah.
So that woman he hypnotizes is speaking in a very thick Irish brogue for the first time ever, and identifying places in Ireland and dates that were later researched, and some was confirmed and some not. But that book had a huge influence on me, and it made me think that there was a chance there is such a thing as regression. So several friends got together and bought me a gift of going to a regressionist, and there was a woman on Bainbridge Island named Libby Kresge. And I went to her, and she had beanbag chairs, sort of, that I laid down on. And she sat on the floor next to me and took notes and also recorded this 2-hour session. And has anybody here been hypnotized?
Yes.
A few people. When you're being hypnotized, at any moment you feel like, oh, this is just baloney, I can just get up and walk away. But you're relaxed, you think, oh, I'm kind of curious, I'm just going to stick with this. And that was the way I felt. And I should say I was a little bit nervous that I didn't really have a former life, that maybe I was just a rock. And I wouldn't have anything to say, so that was kind of like performance anxiety. Anyway, she takes me on this elevator ride down, 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 through different ages, and eventually into former lifetimes. And we probably did 3 or 4 separate little vignettes that were all extremely emotional situations, and they weren't experiences I'd ever had in my current life. And one of the amazing things was they were so, it was like automatic writing. She would say, well, you're standing in front of this bookcase. What are the books that you see? And there would be a little bit of panic in me at first. What if I can't see any titles? And then suddenly, just out of my mouth, I would say, oh, those aren't books, they're bound maps. So that's why I call it like automatic writing. Stuff would just come out of my mouth with no rehearsal. Anyway, finally, she said, we're going to go to the source of your creativity. Tell me what you see. So I'm kind of like, oh my God, I hope I can come up with something. And then I do see myself as a molecule. And I'm up in the sky along with this giant canvas that is kind of parallel to the land and the water. And it's a little bit wavy like that, and it's at an angle. And I'm a molecule racing around on the surface of this canvas. And the impression, sort of like a mirror of the water, the land, and the sky, looks like marbleizing. And marbleizing is that art technique where you put enamel paint on water and you swirl it around. So it's a sort of a wavy, colorful pattern. And that was what you could see on this canvas. So she said, so you're the molecule that is sort of making that impression? And I said, oh yeah, you know, it's really easy to do. It's just a mirror of what it sees below. And then she says, well, why is it important to do this work? And I looked down onto the earth and I could see a huge, long line, single file people. And the first person standing at the front is looking up at this giant canvas with a huge smile on her face. And she turns around to the person behind her and she smiles at that person. And from my molecule presence up in the sky, I can see that this smile is getting passed down the line. And then she would scoot over and the next person would smile and pass that smile around. So the therapist, who knew I was an artist for a living but didn't really know exactly what I do, and I'm interjecting to you that mostly what I do is humorous work, whimsical things. And I'd always felt a little bit insecure about that. Often humorous work isn't taken seriously. So the therapist said, what do you think it means when these people are standing there smiling? And I said, well, it means that the work I do is like passing smiles around the world. And that had a tremendous effect on me and made me feel really confident. So for the last 30 years, I continue to make the work I want to make. Thank you.